This is a great honor for me. I've been all over the country. Today we were in Maine and we were in New Hampshire, where we're doing amazingly well. We're doing well everywhere. A poll just came out, the Rasmussen poll. We're 2 points up nationally. We're going to do well. And I want to thank you so much for that welcome. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to Shali. Great. Come here. Come. Great guy. Great guy. He's a good friend and a great guy. Thank you very much. Thanks. And your family is amazing. I want to thank you for putting together this incredible great guy. I want to thank you for putting together this incredible big fan. Let me start by stating right up front that if I'm elected president, the Indian and Hindu community will have a true friend in the White House. That I can guarantee you, that I can tell you. I'm involved in two massive developments in India, you probably know. Very successful, wonderful, wonderful partners, very beautiful. And I must say, I became involved because I have great confidence, and I have great confidence in India. Incredible people and an incredible country. So thank you very much. I was there 19 months ago and look forward to going back many, many times. Generations of Indian and Hindu Americans have strengthened our country and strengthened it like few people could ever even believe. Your values of hard work, education, and enterprise have truly enriched our nation, and we will be celebrating a Trump administration together. That I can tell you. Indian Americans have the highest rate of entrepreneurship and college graduation in our country. A Trump administration, that's pretty impressive, by the way. You don't hear that often, I will tell you. A Trump administration will massively lower taxes for our small businesses, eliminating job-killing regulations, and we will repeal and replace job-killing Obamacare, which is a disaster. But as we all know, we can't have prosperity without security, and that is why we appreciate the great friend India has been to the United States in the fight against radical Islamic terrorism, a word that our president doesn't even use. It's a word our president refuses to use. Hillary Clinton, as I call her, Crooked Hillary, does not use that term. India has seen firsthand the brutality of terrorism and cross-border violence, including the attacks in Mumbai. And I mean, look, Mumbai is a place that I love. It's a place that I understand. So for all of the people in Mumbai, the attack on Indian Parliament, absolutely outrageous and terrible. We will defeat radical Islamic terrorism. When I'm president, we will stand shoulder to shoulder with India in sharing intelligence and keeping our people safe mutually. This is so important in the age of ISIS, the barbaric threat Hillary Clinton has unleashed onto the entire world. India is key and a key strategic ally, and we don't want to even talk about it because there's nothing like the relationship that we will have. I look forward to deepening the diplomatic and military cooperation that is the shared interest of both countries. India is the world's largest, it's the world's largest democracy, an amazing statement, and is a natural ally of the United States. Under a Trump administration, we are going to become even better friends. In fact, I'll take the word even out because we are going to be best friends. There won't be any relationship more important to us. And I love when I see this over here because they're busting through the gates. They love us. We love you. There's a lot of love in this room. There's a lot of love. I look forward to working with Prime Minister Modi, who has been very energetic in reforming India's bureaucracy. Great man. I applaud him for doing so. And I look forward to doing some serious bureaucratic trimming right here in the United States. Believe me, we need it also. Americans have been asking for years, for decades, to trim the waste in government. The politicians can't do it, but I promise you this, I will do it. The wasting of taxpayer dollars will finally, in the United States, come to an end. We're going to fix these bloated and corrupt bureaucracies. Hillary doesn't have the energy. She's right now resting. She's resting, waiting for the debate on Wednesday night. Did everybody see the last debate? That was an easy one. That was very easy. So, your great Prime Minister has been a pro-growth leader for India. He simplified the tax code and cut taxes, and their economy has grown 7% a year. Excellent. Our economy is practically not growing at all in the United States, just about zero, and with a very, very bad jobs report just this last Friday. We'll take care of that. But when I'm elected, we're going to start growing again and growing very, very fast. My reforms on taxes, trade, regulation, and energy will add at least 25 million new jobs in the next decade. We will make America the greatest place in the world to invest, hire, grow, and to create new jobs, new technologies, and entire new industries. First, we will cut taxes for all working and middle-class households in America. We're going to go to 7, and you know what we had? We had 7 brackets. We're going to bring it down to 3 brackets, with low-income Americans paying no income tax at all. There will be a massive tax simplification. We waste over $9 billion a year in tax code compliance. That ends under a Trump administration. Business tax reform is at the center of our plan. We have the highest tax rates anywhere in the world, 35%, and we're going to bring that down to 15%, which will make us one of the lowest tax countries in the world. That's good. You like that. He likes that. That's good. We will also have the largest regulatory reform in American history. Every year, over-regulation costs our economy $2 trillion a year and reduces household wealth by almost $15,000. I'm going to pause new regulations and ask my department heads to identify every useless or wasteful job-killing regulation, and they will be eliminated. It's a big problem in this country. Some of the very finest regulations will go, and they will go fast. The elimination of our job-killing restrictions on American energy will end. My pro-energy reforms will add at least 500,000 new jobs per year, lower the prices of your energy bills for all American households. Finally, we must fix our terrible trade deals and protect America's intellectual property, something you know a lot about. America's annual trade deficit with the world is now nearly $800 billion a year. China is stealing our intellectual property. Guess how much intellectual property a U.S. government official says China stole last year? The number is approximately $360 billion. In any event, we are going to have strong borders. We are going to have strong walls. We're going to have a wall. We're going to stop drugs from pouring into our country. The wall will be built. Mexico will pay for the wall. We haven't quite explained it to them yet. They don't quite know it yet. We're going to end up having great relationships with China and Mexico, but we are going to have a great relationship with India. Our leaders do nothing about all of the problems caused and all of the crime. They don't do anything about it. We are going to have a great society again. We're going to have honesty in government. We are going to save our Second Amendment. We are going to do so many things toward education, including the elimination of Common Core so we can bring our education local. We have to do it local. When it comes to trade, we're going to negotiate and renegotiate trade deals. We're going to have new trade deals. We believe in free trade, we believe. But our trade deals for our country are not good, they're not fair, they're not appropriate. We're going to change that. So we're going to have great trade deals, but we will be able to trade and do tremendous business, I can tell you, with India. So just in summing up, we are going to have a phenomenal future together. America is going to be a country that people will once again respect. We will be wealthy again. We will be strong again. We will be powerful again and hopefully not have to use our power. But we will be powerful and we will be smart. Our military is depleted horribly. Our military will be fixed. We have great, great people. Our military will be, again, will be what America's military should be. America's military has to be strong, and America has to lead through strength. Lead through strength. We will produce jobs. We will bring back our great companies. They won't be leaving anymore, and lots of good things will happen. You know, when I started this campaign, it was very simple. I talked about strong borders. I talked about good trade. I talked about strong military. But I had a theme, and the theme was very simple, and the theme has resonated all over the world. And the theme is, just like on those hats, make America great again. And that's what we're going to do. I want to thank you all for being here. This is a great honor to have this kind of a crowd. Thank you very much, and thank you, sir. Great. We love the Hindus. We love India. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Hey, it's Adam again from the AM Podcast Network, and in this episode I want to talk a little bit about something that a lot of people really don't want to talk about because one, they don't know how to do it, two, perhaps it's kind of like a dirty word, and three, most podcasters end up being a hobby anyway, so let's talk about monetizing your podcast. All right, so there's different ways. I wrote a pretty decent article on that on the AM Podcast Network. If you go to the how-to section, it's right there, and I give you a nice list and some ideas on how to do that. So I think first we got to talk about why you're podcasting. And I feel like if you are podcasting only primarily to make money, you're probably doing it wrong, because podcasts generally don't make money. It's kind of like, you know, growing up and playing Little League and then getting into some of the bigger leagues all the way until you're in the Major League Baseball. Like, like, what is it, 0.001% of all people will ever play Major League Baseball. So it's kind of like that in the podcast world too. There are podcasters that make money, don't get me wrong, but not all of them make money just on their podcast. So you kind of have to accept whether it's a hobby, whether you might make a few bucks to go get a coffee and dinner, or if this is something that you're going to do, for life, I guess, or for at least a full-time job. So if you really think that your podcast is good enough and you are ready to go ahead and make some money, then let's talk about how to do it. All right, so first rule of thumb is you got to have a website. I talk about it in every episode. Everything I talk about, whether it's writing, audio, or video, is you got to have a website, because you have to have a platform to put ads on or sell things. And if you don't, well, you're kind of shortchanging yourself. If the only thing you have is a podcast, you are going to have a lot of difficulty making money. Assuming that you can get an advertiser to just, pay you to ramble off a few things during your show, I just can't see that. I mean, maybe, that's just me, but you want to have, and I used this yesterday in one of my Google posts, is the more surface area you have for your creativity, the more likely you are to make a little bit of money out of it. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you have a website, if you have a blog, if you have social media websites, if you have like a weekly newsletter, if you have a forum, if you have, I don't know, there's so many things you can add to that, right? A Wikipedia on your website, perhaps 2 blogs, I don't know, and a podcast. So in a pear tree, right? So the point is, the more you have to work with in order to present ads or merchandise or something like that, the more money you're going to make. The more content you develop, the more places you can put ads or sell placement or whatever the case is. So that's rule number 1. Got to have a website. And once you're past that, now you have places to actually do things with. Now, most of the people look at Google and they look at Amazon. They look at different platforms, AdBright, Skimlinks, I think, is one of them. So you can utilize all this and make that your go-to and just say, you know what, just put AdSense on my website. We're done. That's it. No more to talk about. But if that was the case, all these other things wouldn't exist. So if I have a podcast, and I want to monetize it, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create some rules. All right. Let's say my podcast episode is about 30 minutes long. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate it. Do I want to put 1 ad in my podcast, or do I want to put 50? Well, if I put 50, nobody's going to want to listen to it ever. So I'm completely killing the idea. So I make that exaggeration because I want you to think about the time that your podcast is actually, running versus how many ads you're going to put in there. I would say for 30 minutes, appropriately, you could probably put 2 ads in there without turning people off. People understand that you need to make money, right? So whether it's Stamps.com or, I don't know, Cherries, Berries, or whatever it is, if you want to read some ads, by all means, go ahead. Nobody's going to hate you for it. And if you can get those people to pay for it, that's awesome. Another thing that people do with their podcasts, I've heard, is they'll do affiliate links. They'll say, hey, go to here.com and / podcast name and get 20% off, right? I don't know how effective that is. 1, because I've never actually done that. But 2, as a listener, usually I'm on the go. I'm on the train, or I'm driving, or, I'm trying to consume a podcast when I'm away from the computer and when I'm really not trying to shop. So from my thought process there is, if you hit me with an affiliate link, I either have to really like that product to remember to do it, or I'm just never going to do it. I'm just going to be like, yep, nice ad, bro. Cool story. And I'm moving on. That's it. So I don't know about how good the affiliate links work inside the podcast. I'm not talking about on the website, because over there, that's easy. They're already on your website. They just click, and then they're on it. So I'm discussing right now just in the audio itself. So you can sell a couple reads. You can absolutely, spout off some affiliate links. My favorite move would be create a store that goes along with your website, or maybe you can do a Zazzle.com or something like that, and maybe create something for your podcast. If you're an entrepreneur podcast, maybe you say, I make money from home. I know it's lame, but work with me. I'm kind of doing this right. So you can tell them like, hey, check out our store at the end of your podcast and say, listen, everything you buy goes, goes to the supporting the show, or maybe you're a veteran-friendly podcast. You say, 15% for every sale we make goes to Wounded Warrior. There's a lot of different ways that you can present that and make money, and also do good things like contribute something to Wounded Warrior. Many podcasts would probably earn a lot of respect for doing such. Okay, now let's go. Let's kind of widen up a little bit and let's talk about the overall platform. So this week, I guess technically last week, somebody actually wanted to make potato salad on Kickstarter. And they said, look, I just need $10. They did a little thing. I know this thing's been all over the news, so you probably already heard this, but I'm going to use an example. If he can get $50,000 to make a $10 potato salad, why could you not do a Kickstarter for your podcast and ask for like $500? Hey, I want to buy a couple nice mics and I'll buy a mixing board, $500, and then put everything on the side of what you're willing to give your donators and just move on. I think that's an excellent way, right? And you don't have to do it just once, like maybe quarterly you do a Kickstarter for your podcast, but hopefully you're taking that money, legitimately investing it into your podcast, and then people will be like, oh, okay, he actually did something or she did something with that money last time. Yeah, I'll throw him an extra $10 this time. And you can build that consistency and actually, earn some money that way. I really suggest that you don't just take that money and pocket it. I mean, that kind of feels, I know that if I'm your donator the first time and I know that you didn't improve your production, you didn't hire a designer or a video editor or something with that money, you probably never get another dollar from me. So, all right. So if we do the crowdfunding source, I guess Patron is another one, 800-pound gorilla in the room. If I remember, Guinness told me that, a little buddy of mine that I've been kind of collaborating with over the last couple of weeks. He threw it out at me, and I'm not familiar personally with Patron, but from what I hear, good things. So another crowdsourcing idea, maybe that's the ticket. I'm not sure. Whatever your preference is, maybe check out both platforms and kind of see what you're more comfortable with. But they work. Just take advantage of them. There's no reason not to if you're really looking for ways to monetize. Other ones, I use a service a couple years back. It was called blogads.com, and you can go in there and you say, hey, look, I have this blog. Here's my traffic. Here's what I have on a daily basis, and I would like to sell these ads in these positions. And then you take the code from their website and you put it in your WordPress, and you can just sell through the third party. They'll connect you with advertisers, and you can make a few $100 a week if your podcast is strong and your content on your website is strong. But you have to have traffic for that. I think it starts at 5,000 page views a week, maybe. It's been a long time since I used it, but there's other platforms for that too. There's buy sell ads. I believe that's the .com version, and just type in blog ads or something like that, and it'll come up where you can actually go ahead and register, and then you create your ad spaces. And if you want to make a couple $1,000s a month and you're decent, not a bad way to go. I highly recommend it. One of my favorites is merchandise. If your listeners are loyal and you've given them something to talk about, they'll probably buy a t-shirt from you or a mug. And I know you're like, oh my God, but Adam, I really don't want to start producing things. You're in luck. You don't have to. Matter of fact, a simple little couple keystrokes there, you'll be on Alibaba.com, and I think they have AlibabaExpress.com, and I imagine you could probably find tons of other places, maybe a look through Etsy.com or something like that. What you're basically trying to do is find that website or those people at home that are kind of churning out products. I know a few years ago I used to own a t-shirt shop. I designed my own t-shirts, had screen printing, had sublimation, and I could crank out anything from mugs to t-shirts. And then I also did a lot of business overseas with factories that would, produce keychains, mugs. You'd be surprised. You could probably develop a product that costs maybe $5 total to include shipping, the design work. All of that is pretty easy. You put it in a package, you give it to them, you give them the money, and then a week later, boom, it arrives at your front door. You put it on your website. If you have, say, 1,000 active listeners that really like you and they're definitely loyal and they're tuning in on a regular basis, you just tell them hey, I got this t-shirt. It completely supports the show, and it's $20. Even though it's a little bit more expensive than what they would probably spend even at like Walmart or some of the other stores, JCPenney's, or whatever stores you shop at, right? The fact that they know it's actually like kind of a drive to give the show and the platform money, they're willing to open up the wall a little bit more if they think that it's worth it. So if you bring value to your listeners, go ahead and try it. Sell them a t-shirt, sell them a coffee mug, sell them something that they can connect with your podcast while they're listening to you and enjoying your website. And you'd be surprised. You do, $5 a t-shirt, and you maybe make 100 of them. So you got $500 up front that you're investing. That's assuming that you can find that deal, right? I know where they are. I could probably search if I went through and I really tried finding somebody. I know I could find this for about $500. You put them in your store or a forum or wherever you connect with your with your audience. You tell them $20, and next you got like 10 grand. Wait a minute, I gotta do the math. 100 times 20. That is not correct. It is $2,000. So you can turn $500 into $2,000. Possibly overnight. Matter of fact, one of my favorite YouTube channels I listen to, they just did a t-shirt, pretty nice design. They could probably get that design done maybe on like elance.com for, $20-$30. Assume that you have no graphic skills yourself. If you do, that's even better. Save yourself a little bit of dough, make yourself a nice creative design, ship it out to a factory that will make it for you, and then sell them and make a little bit of money. That, to me, is how I would do it. I don't like ads. I hate them. I don't click on them. I love how companies are all like, well, it's always for an improved ad experience. What ad experience? I don't want it to begin with. So to me, I don't know. I don't like ads. I won't read ads in my podcasts. I just don't find value there, because at the end of the podcast, I would prefer to have somebody wear a t-shirt with that, says like ampodcastnetwork.com or something like that. A nice funny design, maybe I don't highlight the website, but maybe, something on the sleeve or maybe in the back collar here, just to let them know it's from me and give them a nice design, something they'd want to wear with pride. And that also helps you with like free advertising. If they're wearing it around, somebody will be like, oh, what is that? What are you wearing there? Come here, you. So utilize that. It's free advertising. You make a little bit of money. Yes, you have to do a little bit more legwork because you actually have to like work with a factory or a company and have your products made. But at the end, it's a dual sword. Not only are you bringing in a little dough, somebody's going to wear it out there and they're going to advertise for you. So one of my favorite platforms, always merchandise. To do e-commerce, pretty cheap. You can always set up, like a Shopify, sell things on eBay or Amazon. Or you can do, if you already have a website and you're already doing WordPress, go ahead, get a WooCommerce, or I work with like PrestaShop and Magento, but those are pretty heavy. Most of the podcasters that are going to be listening to this or watching me, do this YouTube video, you're probably not going to be doing, maybe, I don't know. I guess it depends how aggressive. I would say if you are a podcast network and you have like 12, 15 shows and you were doing merchandise for all the different shows and you were doing a lot, maybe you would do like PrestaShop. Magento would be pretty heavy. But anyway, this is an e-commerce video. Let's keep it on target. So, all right, we got merchandise. We got third-party banner ads. Banner ads suck, by the way. They only have like 0.01% click-through. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, everybody was clicking on banner ads. Nobody likes them. So you have to get creative, and you have to find what works. So I'll save that for another video as well. I know, I'm like, another video, right? I promise, I will do these. I have a lot up in here, so I will share my ideas, and hopefully I'll get you on target for all this. So, okay, what did I miss? I missed, I don't know, there's always different ways. There's so many different ways. I have books on like guerrilla marketing. I have all kinds of ways to do this. Contextual ads. You can probably sell a company on like a keyword in your blog post. You could sell them something like, hey, for $50, I'll go ahead and I'll put this anchor text in my thing naturally. But I do suggest if you're going to do something like that, please at least denote that it's a sponsored like placement. Do not try to trick your audience, because once they find out like you're stuffing them full of cookies or you're being deceptive with your advertising, they're probably going to walk away. Maybe not all if you're still giving them good quality, but I wouldn't do that to my audience. I love the people that have taken the time to read my stuff or listen to me or watch me. So I really try never to deceive them, because I feel like that just breaks the trust. So if you're going to like sell stuff on your website like that, be very careful. Google could absolutely give you a penalty, and nobody really wants that. So if you're running out of ideas, make sure that you get into the AM Podcast Network, into the forum, and send me a little message or put it in there like, hey, can anybody give me some tips on here? Oh, one thing I almost forgot. Social media sponsored posts. Now, some people don't like this stuff, but let's say you have 50,000 true followers on Twitter and they're not all robots. Some companies may actually approach you and say, look, if you send out a promotional tweet, I'll pay you $100 per. And that could be some quick cash. You don't have to break a sweat. You're like, yep, here it is, 140 characters, bam, boom, $100. Thank you. You can go ahead and PayPal it to me. And that could be a ticket. So if you have a big following, not everybody does, but I would say for Facebook posts, you probably need to have somewhere around 500,000. If you have like 1 million actual subscribers and they're not all robots, and you're not buying Facebook likes by tens of thousands, you could probably earn some money. Some people earn way into the $500, few $1,000s per post, depending on how serious their following is. I don't know, that might be Oprah Winfrey style, but anyway, you get my point. If you bring value to an advertiser, you can leverage it to make money. Again, personally, I do not do this. I like to give my audience the best possible user experience when they're on my website, or they're listening to me, or they're watching me. I hate putting advertising on any of my platforms. I haven't done it very much over the last 15 years. I think once I got banned from Google AdSense, that was it. I think I mentioned that in the post. I mentioned it. I don't trust third-party advertising things like Google and Amazon, because they have control. So I remember back in, I think it was 2003, I was trying AdSense for the first time. I mean, this was kind of it was brand new. No, that's probably not legit. No, I think that's pretty legit. So I had 6 months, I get to the $100 payout moment. I'm 3 days away, and I'm sitting there waiting for the email. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get paid. This is unbelievable. 6 months to make this $100. And I check my email, and it says, boom, you've been banned from AdSense. Don't ever talk to us again. I was like, what? And yeah, I have never, ever recommended Google AdSense since then. I can't tolerate that kind of stuff. They took advantage of me, even though it was only a few clicks. I thought we were going to have a good relationship. Google does not give customer service. They don't unban. They're just too big for their britches. So my personal recommendation, it has nothing to do with hate. It's just I prefer not to do advertising, especially with third-party platforms. To me, it's too dangerous. Once I give away my content, or I give somebody the okay to do what they want with my platform, they tend to take advantage. I don't know anybody that has never taken advantage of that. So I recommend that you would do the same. Protect your content, protect your IP, and keep it on your platform. Sell directly if you can, and don't put it in somebody else's ballpark. That's when danger ensues. So, okay, I have covered so much stuff. I just would like to say, if you're really thinking about monetizing your podcast, take your time, research. Make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, and making sure that it's not going to push your users away. Because, perfect example, I was reviewing a podcast last week, and for anybody that doesn't know, I do review podcasts and platforms for free. I do it in AM Podcast Network, in the forum section underneath podcast feedback. All somebody has to do is request it, or send me a message on social media, wherever you can link up with me. And I give a very thorough, in-depth review. If I have time, I go through your social medias, I go through your website, your logo, your audio, and I give you the down and dirty. I even rate you if you want. If your audio sucks, I'll give you 4 out of 10. Boom. Okay, so it's not about that, but I'm saying it's there. And I explain that to tell you that I did this for an individual, and then I went to his page, and then I realized he's part of a network, and I was trying to figure out, like, his page layout was good, the color was good, and then when I kind of looked closer, I realized all the content on the page that surrounded the little play button and his little image were ads. And if they weren't ads, they were upsells. You know, hire me for this, or click here if you want to buy a book from Amazon, or hey, if you like what you see, you can send me your IRA, or you know, it was awful. It was a terrible experience for me as a reviewer, and I wrote that in a review. I was very adamant, like, this is horrible. This is a terrible user experience. I feel like the only thing you're in for is the money, and you have offered me nothing but, I mean, I might as well have been on Craigslist at this point. So I use this as an example to implore you to please step away from the computer if you have the desire to take advantage of your users. If your only influence is money, stop what you're doing and go find something else to do. I don't want you in my hobby. I don't want you in the zone, right? I want you to do this because you care, you have something to offer, and the bottom line is not money. So I don't mind if you make money. I have no issues with you, you know, taking your wife out to dinner because you worked on your podcast all week. I don't mind you, you know, reaping some benefits from what you sowed. So please don't take that away. I want you to make money. I want you to make money properly. And I want it to be a win-win for everybody involved, to include you, your listeners, and anybody that might find you on Google. I think that's super important, right? I mean, the whole point of having online content is always about the end user and about what we offer them. And it's not about advertising and how you make ads more relevant to them, or how you refine with big data, you know, how to sell better to them or how to take advantage. We're more than that. We're not robots, right? We are creators, whether it's through the writing or the podcast or the video or engaging people on Skype or Google Hangouts, wherever you are. It should always be for the benefit of the listeners. And if on top of that you want to throw a layer of e-commerce and you want to sell them a little something, by all means, I'm not going to attack you for it. In fact, I'm probably going to help you. And if you already have this set up, let's say you are the person that's already been doing this for years and things are great, but maybe you want a little bit of help. Maybe you want me to review it, or you want somebody else to review it and say, you know what you're doing here is great. And if you want, you could probably monetize this a little bit better if you just do this. It's amazing what happens when we collaborate as creators and we just offer, 20 minutes on Skype with a couple people, and I could tweak somebody real quick and just say, you know what, you're doing great, but if you just change this one little area, you might find yourself in a better position in Google search, or more users, more listeners, more subscribers. I think as podcasters, as a group and a whole, it's important that we come together. And it's not about, hey, I'll charge you, $300 an hour for a good review on your website. I'll do that for free. You know why? Because if I do it for you for free, whether it's good or bad, more than likely down the road, if I ask you like, hey, look, kind of in a pinch, I need a co-host, or maybe I need you to review my stuff. I always need an outside look too, right? I'm not perfect. You will probably more than likely say, you know what, the Adam guy, he was pretty decent to me last year. You know what, the heck, let's do this. And that's kind of the relationship that we need to build. So whether it's advertising or some other look, or maybe, your audio, I don't know. Can't we all just sit down and help each other? Is it that much to ask? I don't think so. If you could just say, hey, this week I'm going to put 20 minutes aside for one person or a small group of people, and I'm going to do something positive in the community, I think you might even feel better, or you'll at least feel like you've given back a little bit. And it's amazing. Even if you're not a pro, any value can be assigned to an opinion. So hopefully that you think about that, provide it into the community. I always recommend giving back a little bit, whether you're in the Facebook group or the Reddit or the Google+. There's all kinds of groups, right? There's all kinds of places that you can give back. So take that information, take everything that I just talked about as far as putting ads or merchandise into your podcast, or going and getting crowdsourced through Kickstarter or Patreon. I think there's a few other avenues that you can use as well. I think it's important that you design your media first, and then down the road when you feel like you've kind of made it, right? Because if you only have like 5 subscribers, the last thing we should be talking about right now is monetizing your platform, right? So going in, you probably already need to know, like, hey, I'm going to need a minimum here, a few months. Let me get my feet wet. Let me kind of gain some exposure. Let me get people listening first, right? You don't do monetizing up front. You do it when it's appropriate. So knowing when it's appropriate is key. I want you to take your time. I want you to build quality content. Please, please, please don't just hire writers off of Elance or Mechanical Turk and say, hey, I just need 1 billion articles and I don't care what they say. I just need to build this thing, right? Stop. I wish I had a rolled up newspaper. No. Take your time. Design a product that matters. Build a website people can care about, that if at the end of the day, if nothing else, if people don't want to bookmark in their browser your website, then you're not doing something right. Your audience should want to do something with your content. There should be some kind of call to action. And when you find that sweet spot, it's okay to monetize it a little bit. So hopefully you take my advice. Hopefully this is worth something to you. If it's not, then I apologize. But if it is, please like the video, subscribe. I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis. I want to be part of what you do. I don't want to just tell you like, hey, this is how you do your RSS feed. I want to be a part of you providing high quality content on a consistent basis. I want to teach you what I do with communication. Writing is my passion. Video will become my passion. I admit I don't do this very often. I never really have. So I'm gonna plow through this one way or the other, right? We're gonna do this. I'm gonna learn how to do high quality content just as well as you are. We're gonna do this together. It's a community thing. I'm here to help you. Hopefully you're willing to do the same for me. And if that's the case, I can't wait to get started with you. So by all means, share this if you want anything. If you want anything in particular, comment below. I will respond to you, I promise. Join the AM Podcast community. If you want some more direct access to me, I'm always on there, and I'm always like going back and forth with people. I love conversation. I think it improves everybody involved. And so if that's the case, I can't wait to see you. So that's the end of this video. Until next time, I'm Adam with AM Podcast Network, and it's been a pleasure doing this.
तो हाय फ्रेंड्स, मैं विशाल, आपका हमारे चैनल में बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। जैसा कि मैं जानता हूं कि आप वाईफाई हैक करने के लिए बहुत कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो पर वो हो नहीं रहा। तो मैं आपको यहां पे एक ट्रिक बताऊंगा जिससे आपको WPS एनेबल्ड वाईफाई आप हैक कर सकते हैं। इसकी कुछ कंडीशन है जिसमें ये कंडीशन है कि आपको ये ऐप डाउनलोड करनी पड़ेगी। देख लीजिए, ये देख रहे हैं WPA टेस्टर। ये ऐप आपको प्ले स्टोर पे मिल जाएगी। गूगल प्ले स्टोर पे आप डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। और एक बात बता देना चाहता हूँ मैं, इसमें यहाँ पे आपको मोबाइल पे रूट की ज़रूरत नहीं है। मोबाइल को आपको रूट करने की कोई भी ज़रूरत नहीं है। विदाउट एनी काइंड ऑफ रूट आप वाईफाई हैक कर सकते हैं। पर अगर आप उस वाईफाई का पासवर्ड जानना चाहते हैं तो आपको अपने मोबाइल को रूट करनी पड़ेगी। रूट करने से आपको उसका पासवर्ड जो है वो पता चल जाएगा। तो आइए अब हम चलते हैं। वैसे तो अभी मैं अपने घर पे बैठा हूँ, इसे आप भी देख रहे हैं कि ये मेरा खुद का बेडरूम है। ये लैपटॉप वगैरह मैं यही सब करता हूँ, ट्रिक वगैरह सब बताता हूँ दोस्तों को, अपने साथ में आपको भी बता रहा हूँ। तो अब चलिए हम चलते हैं जिस जगह पे हम वाईफाई हैक करेंगे। मैं आपको उसका डेमो दिखाना चाहता हूँ। तो सो प्लीज़ आइए चलते हैं। तो देखिए मैं वहाँ पे पहुँच चुका हूँ। इस जगह पे देख लीजिए आप, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सामने आकर। देखिए देखिए यहाँ पे एक वाईफाई शो कर रहा है। ठीक है, देखिए यहाँ पे कोई प्रकार का पासवर्ड नहीं है। तो ये मैं बैक करता हूँ। उसके बाद देखिए आपको करना क्या है, यहाँ पे प्ले स्टोर को खोलना है। पहले आपको प्ले स्टोर से ये एक ऐप डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा, WPA टेस्टर। ये देखिए यहाँ पे शो कर रहा है वाईफाई WPA टेस्टर। ये मेरे पास ऑलरेडी इंस्टॉल है, इसलिए मैं इसे ओपन करता हूँ। देखिए ओपन करने के बाद में यहाँ पे एक आपको पॉपअप आएगा, इसमें आपको एग्री करना है और कहीं क्लिक नहीं करना है। एग्री करने के बाद में यहाँ पे आपको ऊपर में स्कैन बटन है, ये स्कैन करना। देखिए यहाँ पे दिख रहा होगा आपको उमंग, इस पर क्लिक करनी है। देखिए यहाँ पे लिखा ऊपर में कनेक्ट ऑटोमेटिक पिन, इस पर आपको क्लिक करनी है। यहाँ पे फिर और एक आया पॉपअप, इसमें नो रूट। तो आपको मोबाइल रूट नहीं है तो आपको नो रूट में क्लिक करना है। रूट में क्लिक करते ही देखिए स्टार्ट कनेक्टिंग विदाउट रूट टेस्ट में ऐसा यहाँ पे आ रहा है। यहाँ पे देखिए अभी थोड़ी देर में कनेक्ट हो जाएगा। देखिए यहाँ पे ट्राई टू कनेक्ट लिख रहा है, देखिए सक्सेसफुली फॉर, यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं आप। देखिए कनेक्ट, और ऊपर पे ये देख लीजिए आप, यहाँ पे कनेक्टेड है, देख सकते हैं आप। सिग्नल स्ट्रेट देख रहे हैं क्या है। ठीक है, तो चलिए वापस चलते हैं। तो फ्रेंड्स जैसे कि आपने देखा, मैंने वो वाईफाई हैक कर लिया। उसका पासवर्ड तो खैर मेरे पास रूट मोबाइल था, इसलिए मुझे पासवर्ड पता चल गया। तो अगर आपको भी वो पासवर्ड जानना है कोई भी WPS एनेबल का, और ये मैं बता देना चाहूँगा कि इसमें आप स्पेशली फॉर डी-लिंक इसमें आप बहुत ही आसानी से डी-लिंक जो है आपका हैक हो पाएगा। तो इतना बोलकर मैं सबका धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि आपने ये वीडियो देखा। और हाँ, प्लीज़ आप सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। So guys, thanks for watching this video and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Bye. Hi friends, हमारे चैनल में आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। जैसा कि आप बहुत परेशान होते होंगे, जियो का सिम तो आपको मिल गया है, जैसा कि मैंने पहले ट्रिक बताया था आपको जियो सिम कैसे पाना आपको, और फिर उसको अनलिमिटेड कैसे करना है ये भी आपको पता चल गया होगा। पर एक बात आपको एक प्रॉब्लम फेस कर रहे होंगे आप कि ये तो अनलिमिटेड हो गया पर स्पीड नहीं चल रहा। तो आपको अगर आपका अनलिमिटेड नहीं हुआ तो आप हाय फ्रेंड्स, मैं विशाल, आपका हमारे चैनल में बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। जैसा कि मैं जानता हूं कि आप वाईफाई हैक करने के लिए बहुत कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो पर वो हो नहीं रहा। तो मैं आपको यहाँ पे एक ट्रिक बताऊंगा जिससे आपको WPS एनेबल वाईफाई आप हैक कर सकते हैं। इसकी कुछ कंडीशन है, जिसमें ये कंडीशन है कि आपको ये ऐप डाउनलोड करनी पड़ेगी। देख लीजिए, ये देख रहे हैं WPA टेस्टर। ये ऐप आपको प्ले स्टोर पे मिल जाएगी, गूगल प्ले स्टोर पे आप डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। और एक बात बता देना चाहता हूँ मैं, इसमें यहाँ पे आपको मोबाइल पे रूट की ज़रूरत नहीं है। मोबाइल को आपको रूट करने की कोई भी ज़रूरत नहीं है। विदाउट एनी काइंड ऑफ रूट आप वाईफाई हैक कर सकते हैं। पर अगर आप उस वाईफाई का पासवर्ड जानना चाहते हैं तो आपको अपने मोबाइल को रूट करनी पड़ेगी। रूट करने से आपको उसका पासवर्ड जो है वो पता चल जाएगा। तो आइए अब हम चलते हैं। वैसे तो अभी मैं अपने घर पर बैठा हूँ, जैसे आप भी देख रहे हैं कि ये मेरा खुद का बेडरूम है। ये लैपटॉप वगैरह मैं यही सब करता हूँ, ट्रिक वगैरह सब बताता हूँ दोस्तों को, अपने साथ में आपको ही बता रहा हूँ। तो अब चलिए हम चलते हैं जिस जगह पे हम वाईफाई हैक करेंगे। मैं आपको उसका डेमो दिखाना चाहता हूँ, तो सो प्लीज़ आइए चलते हैं। तो देखिए मैं वहाँ पे पहुँच चुका हूँ। इस जगह पे देख लीजिए आप, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सामने आकर देखिए यहाँ पे एक वाईफाई शो कर रहा है, ठीक है। देखिए यहाँ पे कोई प्रकार का पासवर्ड नहीं है, तो ये मैं बैक करता हूँ। उसके बाद देखिए आपको करना क्या है, यहाँ पे प्ले स्टोर को खोलना है। पहले आपको प्ले स्टोर से ये एक ऐप डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा, WPA टेस्टर। ये देखिए यहाँ पे शो कर रहा है वाईफाई WPA टेस्टर। ये मेरे पास ऑलरेडी इंस्टॉल है, इसलिए मैं इसे ओपन करता हूँ। देखिए ओपन करने के बाद में यहाँ पे एक आपको पॉपअप आएगा, इसमें आपको एग्री करना है और कहीं क्लिक नहीं करना है। एग्री करने के बाद में यहाँ पे आपको ऊपर में स्कैन बटन है, ये स्कैन करना। देखिए यहाँ पे दिख रहा होगा आपको उमंग, इस पर क्लिक करनी है। देखिए यहाँ पे लिखा ऊपर में कनेक्ट ऑटोमेटिक पिन, इस पर आपको क्लिक करनी है। यहाँ पे फिर और एक आया पॉपअप, इसमें नो रूट। तो आपको मोबाइल रूट नहीं है तो आपको नो रूट में क्लिक करना है। रूट में क्लिक करते ही देखिए स्टार्ट कनेक्टिंग विदाउट रूट टेस्ट में ऐसा यहाँ पे आ रहा है। यहाँ पे देखिए अभी थोड़ी देर में कनेक्ट हो जाएगा। देखिए यहाँ पे ट्राई टू कनेक्ट लिख रहा है, देखिए सक्सेसफुली फॉर, यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं आप। देखिए कनेक्ट, और ऊपर पे ये देख लीजिए आप, यहाँ पे कनेक्टेड है, देख सकते हैं आप। सिग्नल स्ट्रेट देख रहे हैं क्या है, ठीक है। तो चलिए वापस चलते हैं। तो फ्रेंड्स जैसे कि आपने देखा, मैंने वो वाईफाई हैक कर लिया। उसका पासवर्ड तो खैर मेरे पास रूट मोबाइल था, इसलिए मुझे पासवर्ड पता चल गया। तो अगर आपको भी वो पासवर्ड जानना है कोई भी WPA सर्वर का, और ये मैं बता देना चाहूँगा कि इसमें आप स्पेशली फॉर डी लिंक इसमें आप बहुत ही आसानी से डी-लिंक जो है आपका हैक हो पाएगा। तो इतना बोलकर मैं सबका धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि आपने ये वीडियो देखा। और हाँ, प्लीज़ आप सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। So guys, thanks for watching this video and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Bye.
वेलकम दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है हमारे हिंदी यूट्यूब चैनल टेक्निकल शुक्लजी में। दोस्तों आज मैं बात करने वाला हूँ एक जियो की ट्रिक की, कि जो हमें 3 महीने के लिए जो नेट मिला था उसे हम अनलिमिटेड में कैसे कन्वर्ट करेंगे। तो ये बहुत ही आसान एक तरीका है मेरे पास कि आप इसे कन्वर्ट कैसे कर सकते हैं। तो उसके लिए आपको कुछ करना होगा, वो देखिए जो अभी तक ऑफ़र आया है जो 1 साल के लिए, वो आया है ओनली लाइफ के फ़ोन में। पर हम बाकी फ़ोनों में कैसे करेंगे इसे, वो मैं आपको बताऊंगा। तो सबसे पहले इसके लिए आपको क्या करना होगा, सबसे पहले आप ओपन कीजिए अपना प्ले स्टोर को ओपन करने के बाद यहाँ ऊपर सर्च बार में टाइप कीजिए IMEI चेंजर। सबसे पहली जो एप्लीकेशन आपको सामने दिखाई दे वो उसको ओपन कर लीजिए। डाउनलोड करने के बाद यहाँ पर दोस्तों आप देख सकते हो ऊपर जो है वो करंट IMEI लिखा हुआ है जो अभी आपका है, नीचे न्यू IMEI आप चेंज कर सकते हैं। एक चीज़ आपको बता दूं कि आपका फ़ोन इसके लिए रूटेड होना चाहिए। अगर आपका फ़ोन रूटेड है तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। उसके बाद आपको यहाँ पर एक IMEI नंबर डालना होगा जो कि लाइफ के मोबाइल फ़ोन का डालना होगा, न्यू IMEI नंबर आपको। तो उसके लिए मैं आपको एक IMEI नंबर दिखा देता हूँ। तो ये देखिए एक LYF का IMEI नंबर है, ये 911501450159। और जो लास्ट में 3 डिजिट जो नहीं है वो आप अपने हिसाब से कोई भी रैंडमली चूज कर लीजिएगा। तो IMEI चेंज करने के बाद उनको लगेगा कि आप लाइव के फ़ोन में जो सिम है वो यूज कर रहे हैं, और आपको 1 साल के लिए जो है वो मिल जाएगा ऑफ़र। तो दोस्तों उसके बाद आपको एक और एप्लीकेशन करनी होगी। अगर आपका फ़ोन रूट है उसमें, तो एक और एप्लीकेशन है, तो उसके लिए आप क्रोम ओपन कर लीजिए, जो भी ब्राउज़र है। तो उस एप्लीकेशन का जो नाम है वो है एक्सपोर्ट। ये देखिए, मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ, ये अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर एक्सपोर्ट नाम से एक एप्लीकेशन है। तो इसको आप डाउनलोड कर लीजिए। यहाँ पर नीचे डाउनलोड का ऑप्शन दे रखा है, यहाँ पर डाउनलोड एपी के नाम से, इस पर डाउनलोड कर लीजिए। तो दोस्तों यही थी एक जो ट्रिक थी इसको काम करने के लिए। तो अगर आप ये करते हैं तो आपकी जो ट्रिक है वो काम करेगी। आप अपनी वाईजियो ऐप को ओपन करें। ये लगता है मेरा फ़ोन थोड़ा हैंग हो रहा है, तो देखते हैं क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रही है। लगता है थोड़ा सा वेट करना पड़ेगा। दोस्तों सैमसंग गैलेक्सी J7 मैं यूज़ कर रहा हूँ और देख सकते हैं अभी कितना हैंग होता है मोबाइल फ़ोन। सैमसंग के मोबाइल की यही कमी है। तो चलिए एक बार और दोबारा से ट्राई करते हैं ओपन होता है कि नहीं। तो ये दोबारा से मैंने क्लिक करा और ये ओपन हो गया। देखिए अभी भी हैंग हो ही रहा है। तो दोस्तों आप माई जियो ऐप को ओपन करने के बाद जो सबसे ऊपर आपको दिख रहा है एक बटन माई जियो का, उसके आगे ओपन लिखा, उस पर क्लिक करेंगे। तो अगर आप सब कुछ कर चुके हैं, IMEI नंबर वगैरह चेंज, तो उसके बाद स्किप साइन इन पे क्लिक कीजिएगा सबसे लास्ट में। उसके बाद ये लॉगिन आपको ले जाएगा अंदर। लॉगिन होने के बाद वहाँ पर लिखा आएगा, जैसे कि मेरे में यहाँ पर लिखा आ रहा है कि ओनली ये 31 तक अवेलेबल है, 31 दिसंबर तक के लिए। पर वहाँ पे आपको लिखा आएगा कि ये 31 दिसंबर 2016 तक मेरे में लिखा आ रहा है, आपके में लिखा आएगा 2017 तक। तो यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं आपके जो यूसेज वगैरह। धन्यवाद दोस्तों हमारी वीडियो देखने के लिए। फिर मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में। हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, लाइक करें, कमेंट करें।
पहले हमारे प्रीवियस सीजन का वीडियो जाकर देखिए कि उसको अनलिमिटेड कैसे करना है। इसके बाद में फिर मैं आपको आज यहाँ पे बताने वाला हूँ। और जैसा कि मैंने मार्केट वगैरह ऐसे दोस्तों से भी सुना कि उनका अनलिमिटेड नहीं हो रहा, तो जिन लोगों का भी ये अनलिमिटेड हो नहीं रहा वो हमारा प्रीवियस वीडियो जाके देख सकते हैं, तो आपका वो अनलिमिटेड हो जाएगा। तो आज मैं आपको बताऊंगा यहाँ पर कि ये अनलिमिटेड आपको हो गया, पर आपको स्पीड कैसे बढ़ाना है। तो आप जैसा कि अभी देख सकते हैं मैं यहाँ पे खड़ा हूँ, और मैं जिस जगह में खड़ा हूँ यहाँ पे आप देखिए ये एक जियो का टावर यहाँ पे लगा हुआ। ये जैसा कि आप टावर देख रहे हैं जियो का लगा हुआ है। मैं ख़ास तौर पे ये वीडियो आप लोगों को शेयर करने के लिए आप लोगों के साथ मैं यहाँ इस जगह इतने दूर आया हूँ। मेरे घर से 5 किलोमीटर दूर है ये, तो मैं यहाँ पे ये वीडियो आप लोगों को देने के लिए ही आया हूँ। तो आइए हम शुरुआत करते हैं यहाँ से कि आपको स्पीड कैसे बढ़ाना है। तो आपको कुछ करना नहीं है यहाँ पे ज़्यादा कुछ, ये सिर्फ आप देख रहे हैं। जैसा कि पहले एक काम कर लेते हैं। पहले देखिए ये डाटा मेरा ऑन है, मेरे पास एक जियो सिम है। वैसे तो है बहुत, मेरे भैया मेरे दोस्त सभी चला रहे हैं, सभी को मैं दिला चुका हूँ। तो अब आपको देखना है कि यहाँ पे करना क्या है। तो देखिए पहले आपको यहाँ पे मेरे पास है स्पीड टेस्ट मास्टर। ये देखिए यहाँ पे टेस्ट करके आपको दिखाऊंगा कि स्पीड क्या है इसकी। ये जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं स्पीड यहाँ पे हमारे 7 तक गई थी, 7 Mbps। तो ये आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं हमारी एवरेज स्पीड क्या है। ये देखिए 5.9 MB/s। तो अब मैं देखिए यहाँ पे कुछ स्टेप्स बताऊंगा। ये स्टेप्स करने के बाद आपकी जो स्पीड है वो करीब 15 Mbps तक की जा सकती है। तो आप ये वीडियो को देखते रहिए और ये प्रोसीजर आगे ध्यान दीजिए कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ। तो सो लेट कम टू द प्रोसीजर। आपको सेटिंग्स में जानी है। सेटिंग्स में जाके मोर पे जाकर देखिए सेलुलर नेटवर्क, ध्यान रखिएगा सेलुलर नेटवर्क, इस पर क्लिक करना है। उसके बाद में एक्सेस पॉइंट नेम शॉर्ट फॉर्म APN में आपको जाना है। उसके बाद में ये जो आपका APN है उसके अंदर फिर से क्लिक करना है। आप ये ध्यान रखिएगा आपका जो नेम है, नेम से यहाँ कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता। APN जो है APN ज़्यादा आपको इसमें आपको स्पीड मिलेगी। तो APN रहना चाहिए आपका, देख लीजिए जियो नेट, JIONET, जियो नेट होना चाहिए यहाँ पर।
और देखिए यहाँ पे आपको APN टाइप इसको ये कर देना। आपका पहले से सिर्फ ये था डिफ़ॉल्ट होगा, तो उसको डिफ़ॉल्ट प्लस SUPL करना है। उसके बाद में आपको यहाँ पर क्या करना है, APN प्रोटोकॉल इसको चेंज कर देना है। देखिए APN प्रोटोकॉल IPv4 है, तो आपको इसे IPv6 करना है, और इसे भी करना है IPv6। BRS जो है देखिए यहाँ पे अनस्पेसिफाइड होगा आपका, उसको LTE कर दीजिएगा। तो ये हो जाने के बाद में अब इसको सेव करना है। अब ये सेव करने के बाद में चलिए हम वापस टेस्ट में चलते हैं। ये देखिए स्पीड पहले से ज़्यादा है। जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं, यहाँ पे आपको एवरेज स्पीड अभी कुछ ही देर पे मिल जाएगी। अपलोडिंग की स्पीड से आपको कोई मतलब नहीं है। देखिए यहाँ पे एवरेज स्पीड आपका 8.5 Mbps और पहले इससे कम थी। तो आपको यहाँ पे पता चल गया होगा कि आपको सेटिंग्स में क्या करने से आपका स्पीड बढ़ता है। तो फ्रेंड्स, अगर ये वीडियो अच्छा लगा हो आपको तो हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, और ऐसे ही वीडियो और पाने के लिए हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब, और वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कीजिए। और अगर आपको कुछ यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन है तो कमेंट कीजिए। तो